We're trying out our new in-person activity. This is hybrid, something to talk about today. And so Don Tarbutton is here and I'm here. And today's topic is the senior center. And so Don says he has a question for me. So we will get to that. That's sort of maybe how we'll start, and see who shows up, or if this is a short live discussion. But I will, in the interest of gratitude, mention that Fieldstone Memory Care of Bainbridge Island supports the Senior Center through sponsorship of Something to Talk About. They offer innovative and compassionate care, and they are now offering day stay and respite programs. Call 360-689-4314 to schedule a tour of Fieldstone's beautifully appointed apartments on Rolling Bay today. So I put out the word that I was willing to talk about what things might be going on at the center or take questions about what you have about what we could be doing. I will say that we are still sort of in a holding pattern about the remodel or the refresh. We got word that the council has now given authorization to the staff to advertise the plans that were put out. There are some changes in the original program. The city has added on a new roof for this end of the building because it's been leaking. You can see there's some work on the ceiling there so they're going to replace that roof. And then as part of they got some money from the federal government related to Build Back Better, and they want to increase the solar capabilities. So they're going to add more solar panels, and they're going to add a battery so that we could actually pull that electricity even if the power source, PSM is down.
Wonderful.
So that may delay a little bit. And of course, I'm not sure how many contractors are looking for work right now.
Right, not many.
So we may have to wait for that. The hope is that June or July, we might start production. And then that would mean that maybe by the fall or winter, we'd be done. And our plan is to start here in the East Wing and then finish that up, move to Huney Hall and the entryway. And that might mean that we move some of the entryway stuff either here or at the other end. And then after that, sort of close off the West Wing and do the work there. So there'll be some challenge of where programs go. There may be an encouragement to return to Zoom for some things. We're talking to people like Bainbridge Senior Living and Fieldstone about whether we could do some programs in their buildings.
That'd be great. I wouldn't have to walk over here.
That's right, you wouldn't have to walk over here. So that might work. We'll figure it out. But I don't really know when it's going to start.
Right.
But everything that is still in the plan, the idea of expanding this room so that it includes what's now the kitchen over here, improving the lighting and ventilation throughout this part, and then improving lighting and putting in a kind of not rubbery, but a floor that has a little bit of give to it for Huney Hall, making it better for exercise and maybe making it better for dancing, exactly. And then expanding the thrift store and adding ADA doors to the bathrooms and adding a hearing loop for Huney Hall. Those are probably the highlights. Yeah. So I don't know exactly when that will start, but it's moving along at the City of Bainbridge Island pace. So,
is there a way you're going to be able to continue programming along the way while it's going on?
Yeah, well, our hope, because we've talked with them about staging it, is that we could, for example, say, okay, we don't have the East Wing for some period of time, and then we could move some of the programs that might have been in Huney here, not all of them. We also might be able to look while they're doing that part of the building at using somewhere off-site to support things like Tai Chi or line dancing. But it's possible that we could, for example, if this was a little larger, if they'd already done this work, we might be able to squeeze the bridge group into here.
Sure. Or the sing-along or
Or
whoever.
the sing-along could be in here when
Exactly.
when we do the far wing, exactly.
Challenge.
It'll be a challenge. But when we talked with the Coates, is the design firm, they designed the work in such a way that it could be sequential, which means we don't have to close the entire building.
Great.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
So there's that. We're starting to do in-person activities as we can see here, but our fingers are crossed because you keep hearing the news about a very
Yep.
virulent version, latest Omicron variant, BA2 or whatever. But we are requiring everybody to be fully vaccinated and one booster, and so far, no masks. We may have to, dial that back depending on what's going on. I was just looking at the Kitsap Public Health website for now they're only putting up updates once a week.
Once a week, yeah.
But based on the most previous update, which was yesterday, in the past period, which was 7 days ending on March 19th, there were only 6 cases on Bainbridge Island.
So that,
So that's the week prior, I think it was 2 or 4, so it's up. So, but you just don't know. But we'll watch that and that will help inform our planning. We also, somebody was asking about this the other day, we also have throughout the building, thanks to the city of Bainbridge Island, Allen air filters, HEPA filters. So there's a HEPA filter in this room. There are 2 in Uni Hall. There's a large one, 2 large ones in Uni Hall, a large one in both the dining room and the fireside room. And then a smaller one in the library here. So, and there's one in the thrift shop as well. So those are designed to just, run, they're supposed to, I think, clear particles up to 1/10 of a micron or whatever that number is, 0.1. And that's bigger than a coronavirus, but the story is that those viral particles are hanging on water
right.
molecules, droplets, and so those are getting caught, and so and the filters are getting regularly cleaned and checked. So
Since it looks like we're going to have to live with one virus or another for the rest of our lives, is that something you'd be building into the new building?
that was the question that we got, and we are improving ventilation in this wing, but we aren't putting in air, HEPA, what do you call it? New heating, sort of heating and cooling system. And so as a result, probably not. We'll still use this method, but we do have air filtration in both the West Wing and Huni, and so it's possible that those could be retrofitted as well. But for now, we're definitely grateful for these high capacity HEPA filters.
Yeah, you bet.
Did you come with a question?
I did.
Okay, I'll let you ask it.
Okay. I met one of my neighbors recently over coffee in Winslow Manor. And I asked her I told her about some of the activities that were going on here. And she said, oh, I think something I'd enjoy. I said, well, why don't you come? And she said, well, I can't afford to come. I can't afford to buy a membership in the senior center. I live on a very tight budget. So maybe I need a better understanding of how you deal with that when someone doesn't have enough money to pay for a $20 membership, and do it in such a way that they don't feel like have to say to you, I can't afford it.
So the current approach that we're using, and I would say that we have not done an adequate job of promoting this, but this is one of the things that we're actually in our Kitsap Great Give campaign, which is coming up starting mean, people have already gotten one email maybe, and there'll be
Yeah, I did.
more. The giving campaign through Kids Have Great Give is the first through, I'm gonna forget the last day, which is, I shouldn't do that, but it's in the third week of, or fourth week of April, the 21st, I think, is the day of the Kids Have Great Give. But we're going to promote the idea that what we're going to be raising money for in that period is what we're calling program activity funds. So there are funds that can be distributed to allow people to fully participate in the center, regardless of their economic circumstances. So one of the interesting issues in our culture to some degree is we have found that for many classes, if you don't have at least a nominal fee, people don't necessarily show up. So, so we have found that even with classes where we have a volunteer who might be leading it, we've put a little fee on there. And that shouldn't be a barrier to somebody who wants to say, take Qigong, even though, so it's 5 sessions for $15, we should be able to defray that cost. Our current approach is that we ask people to talk confidentially to me. They can do this on the phone, they can send me an email, and just express this concern that maybe this is a barrier. We don't want there to be a barrier. And then what we do is we put money in your wallet, which is the method we use here. If people want to, put down some money and then not have to pay us $3 every time they come to sale, they can put $21 in their account, and then each time they come, we just deduct the $3. So we do that with program activity fund money, so that if your neighbor were to call me or email me, then we would put money in their account, and they could say to the front desk, just take the money out of my account for this.
Nice. That's a good way of doing it. Great. Appreciate that.
So, what we have not done a good job of is telling the story about how that works.
Yeah, because I didn't know.
You didn't know. And so I'm thinking that that's one of the things we need to do in the next splash. And also just kind of as a matter of regular course, make it clear that that's available.
I like the email option because it gives a little more distance between you and that person.
Right. It depends. Right. It's certainly, if that's, And the other thing that has happened, Helpline House knows about this. So if they're talking to somebody who's a member, who would like to be a member, I've received emails from social workers at Helpline House. So in the course of their conversation, they might be saying, well, would you like to do this? Have you heard about the senior center? And in that confidential conversation, they might say, yes, but I feel like this is a barrier. So the social worker sends me an email and we take care of it that way.
So is another route for this person to go meet with the social worker here when they?
So, so the other, we have the Helpline House social worker comes here once a week.
Right.
On Fridays, although during the past several months, it's been, you make the appointment and then it's a phone call or a Zoom call.
I see.
They haven't been coming in person. But we'll see if we can get that back in person. It's nice to have a couple of meetings available each week. We do request, if you are looking to talk with a social worker here, that you make the appointment prior to Thursday so that we can inform them. So if there are no appointments on Friday, Marilyn Grempsey or whoever it is will not drive down here and set up. They'll just do their work at Helpline or at home, wherever they are these days. So that's ask a social worker is a regular thing on our calendar.
Right.
And then the other person that often will talk to people about this is Katie Auger, who is the community resource navigator, and she works part-time for Island Volunteer Caregivers and part-time for us. And she helps bridge the gap both between our organizations and with people who are using both of those services. She's not a social worker, but she has a good understanding of what the resources are. And if you aren't really sure whether you need a social worker or you just want to bounce ideas off of somebody to say, I'm trying to find housing, who would I talk to? Katie might be a good first stop for that.
I forgot, does she come once a week here?
So again, this has all been in transition
sure.
because of COVID, but yes, she was regularly having office hours here. Lately, what she's been doing is fielding most of those conversations on the phone. Just seems to work better, but she's welcome. If you want to meet with her in person, I'm sure she'd be happy to arrange a
And both of
time.
those pieces of information about the social worker and this woman are information about how to contact them are in the weekly bulletin.
So the Ask a Social Worker is in there every email on Monday. I have not put Katie's specific contact information in each email, but it's on our website, and also, we have some great volunteers working at the front desk. And if you have any questions, that's a great place to start, which is just call our main number, and Barbara or
Right.
Becky or somebody will answer the phone
That's great.
and give you and if they can't answer the question, they'll talk to me or Mary. So, and we get a lot of just those kinds of first level inquiries. We also are with a bunch of other organizations keeping up to date, a website called biresourcedirectory.org,
I've been hearing about that.
which is BIRD. And the BI Resource Directory is built out of the idea that many of our nonprofit organizations had big 3-ring notebooks full of little notes about who to call for this and where to go for that. And those things change, and the names change, or the phone numbers change, or the contact person changes. And so we would be updating those here, or somebody at Helpline would update them. And then the other organizations wouldn't know.
Right.
So what we're doing now is, and Katie Auger has been a major sort of organizer of this, is to try to, at least once a year, check with all those organizations that are on that directory to see if there's any changes. We send out an email saying, one of those things, like one of those things you get in the email that say, oh, is this you? We do that with them. We say, is this the right information we have for your, and they go and look and say, oh, no, actually, that's not right. So we, at least once a year, but often more than that. And if you see something, you can send an update to BIRD, B-I-R-D, at biseniorcenter.org. The link is on the biresourcedirectory.org website. But you can search for all kinds of things for families, for seniors, for kids on that website. And we're working with the Island Volunteer Caregivers in hopes that we can also add a really big missing component, which is some sort of a directory of people who are in private business, who do handiwork or might do caregiving or help with laundry or chore services. So we're trying to figure out how to do that.
Right. Do you have a vacant position? Is that being filled?
Well, so we have, we are currently looking for somebody who could help with marketing, fundraising, and related sort of information dispersal. Because I feel like the real story of fundraising is basically getting a clear version of your story out there. And right now, in addition to being sort of the organizational lead, I've been managing most of the programming and all of the fundraising and all of the Facebook and Instagram and picture taking.
No wonder you're tired.
And so I think that having another person in the mix might help with that. This has been, we're looking for somebody who has some flexibility, interest in being part of our little team. And we have had some inquiries, so we're looking through that. We also are looking at maybe, it's kind of interesting. There are a lot of nonprofits looking for people right now. So whether we're not committed to making a quick hire, and we may take the position down and do some other things. We've talked with somebody about helping with some of the administrative work, sort of on a very part-time basis. This would be a full-time position. If you know somebody who's interested in marketing or
And fundraising.
fundraising, which to me, the biggest part of fundraising, and I've been doing this now for 5 years,
Right.
is really organization and structure. The hardest part of the fundraising job, although people think, oh my gosh, I can't ask people for money, is all the legwork that has to happen before you do that. For example, Kimmy Kinoshita, who's on our board, has been helping a lot with this. And she has been doing a series of interviews with people, and then getting pictures. And then those are the stories that we can put into emails or social media posts to tell the story of what the center's doing. And mostly, those are not, I mean, at the one hand, they're fundraising, but they're also, membership promotion. And they're letting people who are members know about things that we might be doing that they don't know about.